Him with his bills because I'm not paying my bills because I'm buying drugs. There's a big problem with enabling, with family members first denying that there's a problem, secondly enabling it, and thirdly accepting it. Denial's a big thing. I understand you have a book coming out. You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, January it should be coming out. So I signed a deal with HarperCollins, so I'm very excited about that coming out.
And that's all about denial?
All about denial.
Okay.
Looking at it and feeling, you know, the idea about the book is really to get people to understand that where their part in is in a denial, you know, because all of us play a role of staying in denial. What's the normal thing that you do when you get a call in the middle of the night that your loved one was arrested for a DUI? What's the normal thing that a family would do?
Go get them?
Get them, bail them out, pay for an attorney, try to get them out of it. All the things that we would normally do, the normal behaviors as trying to help a loved one. But when we have the addiction that's involved, you know, I'm not saying everybody that gets arrested for a DUI is an addict, but when we do have somebody that is an addict and you're doing that to help them get out of that, you're feeding their disease filet mignon. You're feeding it where it's staying alive. But if you get educated on doing what's necessary to get them into treatment, you know, I'm not saying cut them off. You know, I'm a huge fan for Al-Anon.
That's my. What about the whole tough love?
Huge fan for Al-Anon. It's one of the best programs out there, and that's pretty much what they help you deal with is tough love. The one thing that I don't really agree upon with, and I don't believe Al-Anon does this anymore, but some of the smaller Al-Anon meetings take it to this point where they say totally cut them off. Don't have anything to do with them.
And then the alcoholic or the addict is going to say, see, my parents don't even love me.
Yes.
What do I have left?
Yep.
What do I have to live for?
Exactly
I'm by
right.
myself. I'm isolated.
Exactly
I'm alone.
right.
There's no hope for me.
Yes.
My parents gave up on me.
Yep. And that's the problem. You know, once they realize that, you're giving them the reason or the excuse why they could stay sick. You know?
Exactly. They're using that as an excuse. And I know now I used over, you know, I would use over this. I would use over that. And the truth was I was using that as an excuse.
Exactly.
Yep. My girlfriend broke up with me.
Yep.
I'll get high.
Yep.
You know, my mother passed away. I'll get high. What areas do you work in? I know you're based out of Los Angeles, and I had the privilege, you know, I contacted you a couple months ago, and I told you some ideas I had about the show, and I was overwhelmed when you just said, why don't you get on a plane next month and come to my house in Florida, and we'll talk. I know you're based out of Los Angeles. I know you have a house in Florida. How about people watching today in New York? What areas do you work in?
We have interventionists all over the country. We have one not far from here. We have people that, you know, fly out of the country to help people. Wow. We're working with doing something in the UK now. So, you know, like I said, addiction is not prejudice. It hits all walks of life, all countries out there. So like I said, we're taking this message to other countries because it really needs to be spread that there is something you could do. Don't sit back. If you're a viewer out there watching your loved one die, or you don't think that they're dying, just destructive behaviors, things that are causing you heartache watching them, you know, not paying attention because they have to go out drinking and not giving the family the emotions that they deserve or the family time that they deserve because they're out drinking with their buddies. Even minor things like that. Get a professional involved and find out and say, is there something I could do? Because there's always something any of these viewers out here could do. Any one of them, every one of them know of somebody, and it takes that one key person to start the process. I've had family members where it was a long-lost friend that brought the interventionist in and then got the whole family on board. And the problem is that we have a lot of split families when it comes to what to do with their loved ones. And that's key, that we stick everybody and get everybody on the same page. Because if there's one person that really doesn't believe in the process, that's okay. We could keep them outside. But we want to get the bulk of the family members on the same page, where we could create the scenario that it's going to be that person's worst nightmare. When they wake up in the morning, they're going to be facing their worst nightmare.
And now you brought up the case that, you know, people are literally watching people die. And I know there's people out there watching their boyfriend, their girlfriend, their mom, their dad. This is black and white. This is life and death. I can tell you, I carry obituaries of 2 people in my back pocket all the time, personal friends of mine that have passed away. And at their wakes, you see their moms, their dads, and they're sitting there scratching their heads saying, what could we have done? And until they throw that last pile of dirt on you, there's help. Everybody knows my personal connection to this.
Yep.
Do you have a personal connection to this? You told me about your sobriety. Will you share with us where you were, how you got where you are, and where you're going, and share a little your experience, strength, and hope? Because here is somebody that has just you have done a complete turnaround. And you could have very well just gotten clean and sober, gone on your way, but you chose not to.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate to be a part of the show and to, you know, be able to help millions of people every week. What ended up happening with me is in July, it'll be 19 years that my employer stepped in and did an intervention on me. He sat me down with the rest of the staff, and they just said, you know, we love you, but we're not going to love you to death. You have to leave. And I had to finally, at that point, get honest with what the problem was, you know, and let them know. And so I opened up and told them that I had a problem with crystal meth. That was my drug of choice.
Wow.
And so at that time, you know, interventions weren't as popular as they are today, of course, because of the show. But one of my supervisors within the program or the employment that I was at taught interventions in a local college, community college. So he was very aware of what the right things were to do. And so that opened up the door when they sat down and intervened on me. You know, this is the part that I want the viewers to know, is that I had no intention whatsoever of staying sober.
Ken, I can tell you, I overdosed July 6th of last year. They found me on my living room floor. I had completely accepted, like I said, I worked in the bars, I got caught up in the nightlife, and basically that's an excuse. I had completely accepted, I thought everybody in the world did coke and drank. I worked in a bar. I had accepted that, and it was like something, I had accepted it. There was a kid that worked with me, 21 years old. He died, didn't stop me from using. And I had accepted it, and then it's like something just clicks. And so, then that's what happened with you. It just clicked.
No, I had, after the